And something that's bound to be music to many White Sox fans' ears. Is Jerry Reinsdorf really open to selling the White Sox? We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
To the number one place for all Chicago baseball. Let's start the show.
What's going on, White Sox fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago White Sox Central. And yeah, I'm not your usual host, but nonetheless, I'm here anyway. It is what it is, so deal with it. I'm stepping in for Big Kev. We got big news that just came down not too long ago, only a couple hours ago at this point, and that is that Jerry Reinsdorf is reportedly open to selling the White Sox after the team has a second historical losing season in a row. And this is interesting because Jerry Reinsdorf, who just made a really big investment in the city of Chicago with, I believe it was the 1901 project, something like that is what it's called, in which he's buying up a lot of downtown Chicago, building a new amphitheater and things down there. And so after a season in which the team went 41 and 121, it seems like now Jerry Reinsdorf is open to selling the team. Now, it has been said that the discussions have been with a group led by former Major League Baseball player Dave Stewart, and so right now, reportedly that a team in which Jerry Reinsdorf bought the White Sox for around $20 million in 1981 could now sell, and that it was worth $2.5 billion, despite where the White Sox have been the last handful of years. It's still valued as the 15th most valuable franchise in Major League Baseball. And this is a huge change for it. The quote that came out of this when it came down to it: "This news represents a significant change of stance for Reinsdorf, the oldest majority owner in baseball. Reinsdorf has shown no previous public interest in selling the team, at least not as long as he was around as the majority owner. Reinsdorf has said several times that he has advised his heirs upon his death to sell the White Sox and keep the Chicago Bulls, where his son Michael is COO and team president." So, seems like this is getting a jump start on something that Jerry Reinsdorf may have already happened before. Now, keep in mind, this is before in which Jerry Reinsdorf talked about and said that he would trade a Bears title for a White Sox title. A lot of things that have come out with this when it came down to it. And, after Jerry Reinsdorf's statement that was released, after the team broke the record for losing, he called it an embarrassment of a season and saying that the fans deserve better. And he said that he would do anything he can to fix the team for 2025 and the future. And that is a completely unacceptable result. And maybe Jerry Reinsdorf looked at himself in the mirror and asked himself, hey, I'm the problem. And if that's what he ended up doing, cool. When it comes down to it, everybody realizes that right now the White Sox are a problem. There aren't too many people that are going to look at where the White Sox are and try to sell themselves and the White Sox have this great future or anything like that. But it all starts at the top. You have to have people that care more about winning than anything else, especially after a season like the White Sox had. And if this is the first step when it comes down to it, then cool, great. It needs to happen, right? The White Sox right now, their farm system was listed as 13th in the league, right? Which is not great at all. They don't have anybody coming in the wings throughout their minor leagues that really looks like they're going to shape up and really turn this team around. Reportedly before that, there was some thought process of maybe moving the team to Nashville and things like that. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to this. If moving on and Jerry Reinsdorf selling the team ends up being what's best for the city of Chicago and for the White Sox franchise, do it, right? Jerry has made money hand over fist for what he bought the White Sox for. And even in selling the White Sox, the amount of money that he's going to get in selling the White Sox is going to be exponentially more than what he bought the team for. $20 million he bought the team for in 1981. You can now sell the team for billions of dollars. And so maybe Jerry Reinsdorf just realizes finally the thing that a lot of White Sox fans have realized over the years, and that is just this simple fact when it comes down to it. You're not getting it done. You aren't getting it done. And so because of that, you need to make the decision to move on. At some point, you got to cut your ties, and you got to realize that you are the problem. And Jerry Reinsdorf's ownership, bringing in Getz, everything that just, when you look at all the series of events that led the White Sox to where they are right now, despite, disappointing performance from players, disappointment performance from managers, disappointing performance from ownership, everything has led to where we are right now. And that is something that I honestly did not think I would see in my lifetime. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I never thought I would see that the Reinsdorfs would sell the White Sox. I just didn't think that I would see it. And not to say that it's going to happen immediately. Right now, if this came out to me, that means that there's a higher chance than not that the team is probably going to be sold. Right. And the fact that this is coming out through multiple sources that it all came out around the same time. There's a lot of different angles that you can look at this when it comes down to it. But ultimately, you just got to look at it and say, this is probably the right decision. It's probably the right decision. And the fact that he's had active discussions and we already know the group that he's had those discussions with that are led by Dave Stewart. Listen, now, of course, the questions are going to arise like, hey, are the White Sox going to stay in Chicago long term? Right? Those are questions that a lot of people ask. And, that's the story that'll come to as this thing goes through and things like that. But when it comes down to it, listen, you got to do what's best. And as somebody who's been a White Sox fan for as long as I've been one, at this point, I don't care where it brings you or what it takes. And if the White Sox were to leave Chicago, don't make no mistake about it, I'd be devastated. I'd be absolutely devastated if they were to leave Chicago. I hope that's not the case. I hope they do end up staying in Chicago because it's just the White Sox are Chicago to me. Like that's just, again, my team that I've rooted for so long. And I hope that they stay on. But, at the end of the day, man, Jerry Reinsdorf is not popular with Sox fans. The Sox tickets were one of the cheapest tickets you can get in all of Major League sports. And now back-to-back 100-loss seasons, something has to change and heads have to roll. I personally just did not think that head that would roll would end up being Jerry Reinsdorf. I honestly didn't think that we would see it. So let me know what you guys think down below. Kev, I'm sure we'll have a more long-term video in regards to this to talk about it more in depth. But I, for one, I just had to give my thoughts on it. And this is wild. It's not very often that things happen that catch me completely off guard. And this is definitely one of those things. And so, you look at Reinsdorf threatening to move the Sox out of Chicago before. He met with the mayor of Nashville. What was that? Just last December. So, hey, we'll see what happens. And this was all during a time where Jerry Reinsdorf was angling at one point for a new stadium for the Sox, right? We'll see what the uncharted territory we're in, ladies and gentlemen. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs Central. We will be separating the channels, by the way. That is coming down the pipeline here soon. The channel that you're currently watching this on will be just Cubs focus. We'll be creating a new Chicago White Sox channel here shortly. But other than that, man, thank you guys so much for everything that you meant to this channel and supporting Kev throughout it all. And we'll see you guys at some point soon.